Alright, well, good morning. Decided to shoot a little bit different video today than I have before. Still associated with gardening, but rather with, I guess, the product of gardening. These are pickles that I've been taking off my plants. Well, not pickles, they're cucumbers. I'm going to make pickles out of them, but these have come off I have about 3 or 4 cucumber plants that are growing, and these have come off in the last about 4 or 5 days. And I decided I'm going to go ahead and shoot a short video showing how I make pickles. This is the largest one that's come off, and this is the smallest. I guess to begin with, you want to try to pick them when they get a little bit bigger than this, but not much bigger than this one. You want them to have a nice green color. You don't want them to start turning yellow like this one. This is still good, but this is starting to get a little bit too ripe. I picked these about 4 or 5 days ago. As you can see, they're starting to turn a little bit yellow. So I need to make these pickles quickly. So how many cucumbers you have determines what you need to put together. So this is the batch I have, and I'll base it on this. Okay, based on the amount of cucumbers I have, I'm going to use 2 of these larger mason jars. You need some mason jars that have hopefully not, you can reuse these, but you want to make sure that the rings are solid, they don't have any rust on them, and they're in good shape. And make sure these things are clean. And if you're going to can, you're going to want to sterilize these. I'm not going to do that because I don't have that many cucumbers, so I'm going to just make these in the refrigerator. But this is about what I'm going to need for this amount of cucumbers. Okay, I guess to begin with, you want to make sure that all the cucumbers are cleaned off, so wash them. And I have found that the blossom side, you don't have to worry too much about the stem side, but the blossom side, you want to just nick the end off. And the reason being is this will help to make sure that the cucumber, I cut off a little bit too much there, kind of hard to cut with one hand, but if you like your pickles to be nice and crunchy, this will make sure that they'll stay that way. It just seems the blossom end, I think it has some kind of enzyme that starts to make the pickle soft and flimsy. So in preparing it, after you wash them, like I said, I cut off a little bit too much there. Just nip the very end off so you can make sure that there isn't anything remaining of the blossom end. Alright, next step is the brine. The brine is what we're going to be using to turn the cucumbers into pickles. That's kind of what cooks them, also seasons them. Pretty much use a 1-to-1 ratio of vinegar to water. And since I've got 2 of these containers, I'm just going to fill one with water and one with vinegar. Vinegar, some people like to use the cider vinegar, apple vinegar, add some different flavors. I'm more interested in the vinegar being used to make the brine. I'm going to flavor it myself, so I'm just going to use regular white vinegar. So 1 container full of water, 1 container full of white vinegar. And before anybody says anything, yes, putting the pickles in the jars is going to displace much of the liquid. And so I'm going to have a lot of wasted brine, but I'd rather have too much than too little. Okay, next thing you're going to need some dill seed. You don't need a whole lot. What you need is about 2 teaspoons per cup of brine mixture. And since I'm using this here, I'm probably going to need about 8 teaspoons of dill seed. What you're also going to need is either some pickling salt, or what I have here is some kosher salt. And you need about 1.5 tablespoons per cup of pickling mixture. And next thing you need is some garlic. Garlic is very important. The recipe I use, that usually calls for a couple cloves of garlic per jar. I kind of like the taste of garlic, so I go a little bit extra. So I'm going to go 3 cloves per jar. Now the cloves of garlic need to be, they're not going to go in whole. You can smash them, or what I like to do is I toss them in the blender or the food processor real quick and kind of just pulverize them. But that's going to be going into the brine mixture as well. Okay, next step is you're going to put the water, the vinegar, and the kosher salt or pickling salt into a saucepan. And this is going to get, you're going to bring this to a boil. But wait, because we've got to get the pickles ready, or cucumbers ready. Alright, my next step is always get the cucumbers ready to be put into the jars. Now you can cut them any way that you like. I happen to like the spears, mainly because it appears, you know, when you're eating the pickles, to me it just seems like I have a lot more than what I actually have. Plus it makes it easier to pack them. Now I try to cut them, you know, as best I can. It's kind of hard sometimes when they're curved, and so like this one I'm just going to keep it in half. You know, it may not come out perfect like this one, or like a small one like this, I'm going to go ahead and leave that one whole. But you can cut them any way you want, you know, little chips. You can get fancy with them, and you know, use smaller cuts or angles or whatever you'd like. It's all going to come out the same afterwards. Okay, since I didn't do too bad of a job estimating, but I got them all to fit. You got to really pack them in there. You don't need a whole lot of space. For instance, this guy here, the whole one, had to kind of pack him in there. Just take into account that when you pull him out, that's why I have him last. That way I can pull him out first. Pack the jars with the cucumbers. Next step is evenly divide up the spices, starting off with the dill. What you measured out, you know, measure it, divide it in half, and then you just put that in. Now this step here is optional. I like my pickles kind of hot, so what I'm doing is, these are serrano peppers that I've been growing in my garden. I always wait to pick them until they're red. That way, to me, they're the most flavorful. I'm going to go ahead and I cut off the stems, and it's simple. One of these goes into each jar. And since I am a glutton for punishment, these are habanero peppers, also grown out of my garden. These are going to go into the food processor with the garlic, and I'm going to pulverize these. You end up with a little mixture like this. This is the garlic cloves, 6 garlic cloves and 2 habanero peppers with a little bit of water. And I just evenly divide this up and pour that into half into each pickle jar. Okay, so now I have all my vegetables, cucumbers, the garlic, serrano peppers, and the dill all inside the jar ready. I've got the brine mixture, which is the water, vinegar, equal parts of each, along with the kosher salt. I got that on the stove getting ready to boil. As soon as I get that to a rolling boil, I will carefully pour that into the very top of each one of these jars. And pause it while the water's boiling. Alright, the last step, I'm going to try to do this holding the camera with one hand, is once you have the brine mixture to a rolling boil, you fill each jar up to just cover everything that you have in there. Sorry about that. Last thing I want to do is spill hot brine mixture all over myself. So now these are going to cook right now. They're cooking. I'm not going to can these. Otherwise, I would fill them all the way up to the top. Next step is pretty easy. You just cap them and screw down the tops nice and snug. Being careful not to spill or burn yourself, because the jars are hot. And what's going to happen is you just let these cool to room temperature before refrigerating them. As it cools, these are going to, the material, everything's going to condense in there, and the caps will go down. And then when the room temperature, or a little bit warmer, you don't want them too hot, put them in the fridge. And you have to wait at least 24 hours. Actually, the longer you wait, the better, because the pickles will get even more flavorful. And that's about it. That's how you make pickles. At least that's how I make them. So let me know what you think. It's the first of these type of videos that I've done. I just figured since I was going to go ahead and make some pickles anyways, I might as well share this with you all. And if you have any comments, you know what to do. If you like the video, share it. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe please. And comments, questions, leave them for me and I'll get to them. And make some pickles. Enjoy. Thanks for watching.